Okay, let's give you guys some more practice. So find the limit of this as x tends to 0. So press pause and have a go. Okay, let's check first. As x tends to 0, this thing here is going to be 1. 1 take away 1, the whole thing here would be 0. 0 squared, it would be 0. As x tends to 0, this thing is going to be 0, making the whole thing. So here you've got 0 over 0. It's an indeterminate form, so you can apply L'Hopital's rule. So applying L'Hopital's rule, differentiate this, that will then give you this thing here, and then differentiate this whole thing here, that will then give you this. So it's really you using the product rule here. So that will then give you this. So now let's check it again. As x tends to 0, so as x tends to 0, this thing here is going to be 1. 1 take away 1, making this whole thing here 0. And then 0 times this, that will be 0. And then as x tends to 0, put it into here. This thing is going to be 0. This thing here is going to be 0, making this whole thing here 0. You've got 0 over 0. So it's an indeterminate form, so you can apply L'Hopital's rule again. So differentiate this whole thing. That will then give you this. Differentiate this whole thing here. That will then give you this thing here. So now let's check it again. As x tends to 0, 0 times 2 will be 0. E to the power of 0, that will be 1. So here you've got 2, this whole thing here, and then as x tends to 0, this thing here is going to head towards 2. You've got 2, take away 2, that will be 0. And then as x tends to 0, this thing here is going to be 0. This whole thing here will be 0. So here you've got 0 over 0 again. So it's an indeterminate form. So you can apply L'Hopital's rule again. So differentiate this. That will then give you this. Differentiate this thing here. That will then give you this whole thing. So now let's check it. As x tends to 0, this whole thing here will be 1. So you've got times 4. So this thing here will be 4. As x tends to 0, this thing here will be 1 times 2. So that will be take away 2. And then as x tends to 0, this thing here is going to be 1. This thing here is going to be 1. This thing here is going to be 0. So you've got 4 take away 2, and then 1 plus 1, blah blah blah. This whole thing here will be a half. Will be 1. Okay. It would be 1. So if you get a graph plotter and punch this into your graph plotter, you will get this. So as you head towards 0, you are indeed heading towards 1. So you are heading towards 1. Okay. So next question. So find the limit of this as x. No, actually, I made a mistake here. I will make another video. Okay.